Hey everyone, do you remember the joy you felt when you first heard that they were making the first new Dragon Ball movie in over a decade? Now, remember the excitement when you heard about the Dragon Ball Super, the first DB series in 18 years? With all the speculation and anticipation beforehand, what was the response after the first episode? Is that it? So what happened? People's expectations were, I guess, too high. After all, they forgot that Toei is the same studio that's been stretching out shows like Naruto and One Piece. And they created Dragon Ball GT just as a cash grab. I remember when the show was announced, Toei never stated the episode count, which was a bit odd. So it's very possible that there isn't or wasn't an episode count, and that in this case, they're just gonna knock out as many episodes as they can till it's no longer profitable. That being said, there is good and bad things about any series, so let's take a look at the pros and cons of Dragon Ball Super. Pro: Akira Toriyama's involvement. Pro: it continues the story of Dragon Ball and is apparently canon. Pro: no GT. GT is not canon. Con: the comic comes out monthly instead of weekly, and yet it's still ahead of the TV show. How is that possible? Con: as of episode 5, it roughly has 3 episodes of filler. Con: it's too ambitious. It's too thin of a story being stretched too far. Con: there's not enough build-up and the filler is too episodic and comedic. So, what are some solutions? Well, long term, it needs to be kindized. What I mean is, once this series has run its course, Toei or whoever needs to go back and eliminate all of the filler episodes. Per Akira Toriyama, the series is supposed to run 100 episodes and cover 3 storylines. If so, then 100 episodes is too much. This should be shrunk down to maybe run at least, or at most, 52. Short term? Eliminate the overly comedic filler episodes from this point on. I mean, Dragon Ball always has comedy, but there's been too much in the series so far. Viewers of DBZ were expecting more of the same when they watched Dragon Ball Super, just like when they were expecting more of the same when they started watching Dragon Ball GT, and when they didn't get it, that's one reason why GT failed. We can't get rid of the episodes that have been animated so far, but from this point on, you don't need to add to them. Just decrease the proposed episode count of 100 episodes. Like I said, there isn't enough content to reasonably put into all those episodes. Also, it needs to have consistent animation. It's probably asking too much for a toy to have stellar animation, but I don't think it's too much to ask for it to look the same from episode to episode. If that means it needs to have a lower episode count in order to afford good animation, I'm fine with that. But no more shoddy animation, okay? Also, per Akira Toriyama, Dragon Ball Super will cover 3 storylines, like I said earlier. The first 2 will be alternate or expanded, depending on how you think about it, retellings of the Battle of the Gods and Resurrection of Frieza movies. It's the 3rd story that really interests me, however. Apparently, the final arc will be completely original and will have the Z-Warriors travel to another universe to find a humongous 9-star Dragon Balls. This could be Dragon Ball GT done right. But let's take a look at the first 2 arcs. The first one, Battle of Gods, currently doesn't have an episode count, so we really don't know how long it's going to run. But it looks like it's going to be extended by introducing more destruction gods. Depending on how the series plays it, it should be interesting. I wonder though, will this become a Monster of the Week type series, like how the end of Dragon Ball GT with the Shadow Shenron's arc? Or will the Z-Warriors fight some of these new destruction gods, or team up with them, or learn new techniques from them to defeat the final boss, I mean villain? Now, as far as the Resurrection of Frieza arc, the only way I can see it working is if the former underlings of Frieza go searching for the disembodied parts of him so they can gather them together to use the Dragon Balls to resurrect them. While this is happening, the Z Warriors find out and they search for the Dragon Balls themselves to stop them. Along the way, they run into several new, weird, powerful, and interesting bad guys along the way. If that happens, then it would sort of justify the 100 episode length. Maybe. With all that being said, I'm going to keep watching and try to be positive. I mean, there is a chance that the producers of this show see the flaws and are working to fix them. I mean, this isn't only a cash grab, right?